Welcome back, everybody. We had some slight technical difficulties, but we're starting this back on over. But we were talking about the show, the video, the song "Welcome to America." Of course, we covered Mr. SoulRac's first memory of hip hop and basically starting to get into the meat and potatoes. If you guys are catching this recording, didn't miss much, and we will be running back the Welcome to America track once again for everybody to have an opportunity to view it. But yes, we are back. We are live. And again, this is a live show. This isn't like one of those pre-recorded things and we edited it up. No, this is live, uncut, unfiltered, and raw. So we do it like all old school. We just are at the mercy of the almighty ISP or
Fight the power.
Yeah, the right, or the service overlords.
Yeah.
But
hey, if a gang of 8 ninja midgets come in here and attack me and you see them in the background, it's live. So I mean, anything can happen.
It's help.
Like that Martin episode.
Yep.
So we gonna make it do what it do.
And it doesn't
Absolutely.
look like we're lagging or anything like that on the other one. So dope. I think we're good to go. All right. So with that being said, we got everything dialed in, and man, so we were talking about just, at the moment when we cut it off, you were talking about, like, of course, KRS-One and his ability to freestyle, and just not only was he a cold MC, but he also, of course, was just a beast in everything. I mean, that Ghost Boogie, part of Boogie, comes from Boogie Down Productions, and KRS-One, Chuck D, all of those guys, made a really big impact in my life early on. Native Tongues crew, that entire movement, and then of course, as things matured, you had the South popping off too. Shout out to Uncle Luke, you being from Florida.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I was 10 years old when they first dropped Throw That Dick,
Yes.
and
Yes.
I was basically like, yo, I was hooked from that because one of my homies had that, and he was like, have you heard this? And I was like, I want to listen to more of this too, because I was like, they talking about craziness, and you hitting puberty around that time, and was like, they saying bad words, and like you had never heard anything talked about like that on the radio or like on a tape, period, except like you had Millie Jackson with the Fuck You, and then also, like, of course, yeah, Dolomite and Fox, and those albums.
Party
It was like you kind of,
yeah,
it was the party records where you had to, get your ass in the bed type records.
Yeah, you had to listen to them when your parents wasn't around, or or they wait till you go to bed and listen to them. But yeah, that's how 2 Live Crew were like around your parents. They had the radio version, but I remember all that Throw That D and all of those songs that they had back then. It was just they kind of had the same impact like NWA when they first came out.
Oh my God, yeah.
The way they just took the culture by storm. And that's one of the things that I consider myself fortunate, being in Florida, growing up, being born and raised in Florida, is that I have the East Coast vibe, but also familiar with the South, the bass and all of that. One of my friends, MCs that I talk to, he always like to joke around with me and talk about Florida MCs and the ones back in the day, like, Gigolo, Tony and all of them. He do it in a comical manner, but that's still part of my heritage, and I'm thankful that I had it, because it lets me know that you can have diversity of music, even though I'm here. I'm East Coast to the heart, because that's what I was shaped by the most. But having that background and that experience is a good thing to have, and I won't forget that either. So that is a part of my, history.
And you mentioned I had
Absolutely.
watched, you know, a couple of your interviews, and you know, one of the things that you had mentioned before was that, you know, and I didn't even know this, that you know ODB and the Genius,
Yes.
Jizza, spent some time down in Orlando too, and there's a couple of hip hop royalty that
Yeah.
came out of Orlando, and you know it's something that people don't necessarily know, and Orlando doesn't. I mean, everybody thinks about Orlando, they think about amusement parks, Mickey
They
Mouse,
do.
and roller
They,
coasters and stuff, right?
exactly. Hmm.
So, you
Yeah.
know, what was that hip hop scene like, you know, being around it? And you had mentioned that it was a melting pot, because Cincinnati
Hmm.
was a melting pot too. I mean, you know, we were the land of the funk, and of course, you know, when West Coast music took over, you know, they really embraced the funk, you know, because it was
Oh yeah,
always a
absolutely.
part of their culture before that. And of course, it's always been a hip hop culture, because I mean, think about X Clan, right? I mean, X
Oh yeah,
Clan, they
absolutely.
sampled nothing but the funk. I love X Clan, and then even
Me too. Me too.
Tribe and all of that stuff. You know, you
Oh.
if if there wasn't Ohio music, there wouldn't hip hop would be completely shaped different, because I mean, even from
Hmm.
James Brown recordings, he recorded a lot of his really funky catalog, you know, here in Cincinnati out of King Records. You know, I'm in Denver now, but I
Hmm.
remember all of that stuff, and it's always been something that you've got Isley Brothers, but you
Absolutely.
know, Orlando, you know,
Roger
being
Troutman, Zap. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Mo
man,
Bounce,
Yeah.
big,
Yeah. Absolutely.
big
Slave,
staple.
Steve Arrington, Ohio
Hmm.
Players, you know,
Oh, don't even talk about the
OJ's.
Ohio players.
OJ.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
Come
So
on now,
yeah.
Ohio Players, let's go. I mean, you got
That's
Sugarfoot,
what I'm
you
saying.
know.
That's the heat, boy. That's what I'm talking about. A lot of people don't know about it, especially our generation knows about it. But I
Hmm.
think I think with that's one of the things that hip hop did. I know a lot of the elders in the culture, the patriots and things of that nature, matriarchs, they didn't like the sampling, but what it did, it brought the younger generation back to that music. I mean, you look at the Isley brother with Biggie sampled it. They went and checked that record, just like, I like that sound. And so, although it might have been a monetary issue for some of the artists, but it brought renewed attention towards them, because now it's like, I like that sound, like Biggie, what he did with it. But now I want to check out the Isley Brothers, and I think that also was the appeal to was those who were older than us. They had that nostalgic moment when they heard that sound and that sample. So I think it did some good, even though it might have been a monetary issue for our elders, but at the same time, it also brought more attention to their music, and it gave them longevity as a result.
Oh, absolutely. I
Yeah.
remember like when of course in the 90s, when you know, at late 80s and 90s, when sampling was big and everybody was
Mhm.
sampling, especially with the G-Funk era and everything like
Oh,
that.
absolutely.
Think about all of the reissues of all of the classic albums that were happening on CD, and they were reissuing on vinyl. So for folks
Mhm.
that wasn't digging and going through yard sales and going through used record bins, you know,
Digging in
you
the
had the
crates.
opportunity to get old school records and compilations, and they also did a lot of remastering to the digital age and CD, and you know, added some punch to it. Some of them they made it sound worse, but you know, uh it's neither here nor there. It was just, you know, getting accessibility to music that had been long out of print. So that was the
Yes.
beauty of what hip hop did for like the old school funk and R&B movement. You know, there was a second wave of that, and you think about what's going on right now, you know, with the debate between ageism and hip hop, right?
Oh, I
And
love that. I
you
love
know,
that. I'd love to have that discussion.
much love to all of the founding fathers that have been putting out amazing work since the 50th anniversary and before that. But like when the
Absolutely.
50th anniversary popped off, and I'm like, I would say from like 2019 on, like there was just this big resurgence. I mean, think about Rakim. He produced a whole album and spit on it. We had his A&R M80 on it, tell the story about how He got him to be able to produce all of the songs. He was like, not only are you the God MC, you're the God producer. And he put out an amazing album. He got all the features for him on it. And of course, Tribe came out, but Big Daddy Kane put his
Yes.
thing down and is putting his thing down, right? I mean,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah. Yeah.
what do you think? Because that is one of the biggest things that we've had a guest on our show called Old School Ice Gree. He's
Okay.
from Chicago. He worked with Kanye. He was Kanye's A&R and had worked with him with good music and had known him for a long time. And him and his partner EP the Hellcat, they have a group called why did it just blank? Uh,
Abstract mind state.
thank you,
Yes.
abstract mind state, because my mind state's abstract right now. The abstract mind state, they have the only album that's 100% produced by Kanye West, because Kanye, not even Kanye's albums are completely produced by Kanye, right? And it was recorded during like the Wyoming sessions before, I guess, the quote unquote shit hit the fan. And basically, they also are now working with RL3, or young RJ, from which was basically Dilla's protege, and and he's working with Slum Village too. They went on tour with Slum Village, and they talked about, Old School talked about how he is actively pursuing and making it into award shows a segment called, or a subgenre of hip hop called adult contemporary hip hop, ACH for short.
Yes.
So because you think about rock, you think about country, you think about pop, you think about any other genre of music, there's always subgenres, right? And there's no damn sense that Big Daddy Kane, Jazzo, or anybody else, any of our founding elders and statesmen, should have to put out an album, have to compete with like Little Yachty or Sexy Red, because they all have their own lanes. And even amongst you got trap, you got drill, you got like all these different subgenres, even more so like the emo rap and all of this other stuff, right? It should be just like any other thing. It shouldn't just be all lumped into one award, one section it should be subgenres. So I'd love to know what your thoughts are on that.
Well, I'm glad you asked the question. I think that you kind of hit it on it. You hit on it earlier when you said that you have other genres of music where there's not an expiration date on artistry. I believe that that's one of the biggest misconceptions we have, because you look at culture as a whole. Whenever you want wisdom, who do you go to? You don't go to the young people. You go to the elders. You go to the people that's been around for a while, that have life experiences. I think when we have an expiration date of hip hop, we're missing another part of lived experience that we can get wisdom from, we can gain knowledge from. For example, if somebody's in who, if you got a young person that only know about their life as a young person, that's about the most experience they can provide for you. But when you're old, when you're 30 years old, or you're 40, or even 50 or 60, your life experiences are completely different than that 20-year-old. And so there are things that we go through that they don't go through. For example, like somebody might have, we talked about it, behind the scenes, but mental health is something that hasn't been touched on too much in hip hop. We don't talk about relationship issues, the things that, baby mama drama, just throwing out some topics out there, grown folks business. And so those things are not being spoken to. And so we don't really use our music as a ministry in a way that we're not serving the community. When we isolate what we're talking about, we have to expand the conversation and be able to speak to things that are really happening, because to me, music is a reflection of what's happening in the world and happening in our personal lives. And if we don't vocalize that, or we don't provide a platform for that, we're not really providing direction. We're not providing wisdom. We're not leading the next generation on how to overcome some of those hurdles that they've experienced as they get older.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it became, with hip hop, it was kind of expressed like it's something for the youth. It was
Yes.
something,
Hmm.
young. And even with like, starting hip hop, I'm in my father's collection.
Hmm.
It was still like, will this last? So the
Yes.
mind state of the elders was, this is a fad. This is not going to be around, which, obviously we're doing this podcast now talking about hip hop 50 plus years later. It's
Mm.
around. So, and you mentioned that too, like, uh, it was like create your own music. But now they understand hip hop as the art form, as we was causing a resurgence of the artists that we were listening to and started to sample from. And what we were doing was like taking a piece of this record, taking a piece of that record, revitalizing it and making something new out of it. So that was a whole new art form. Now they see the longevity in it. Because my father was like, man, y'all just taking somebody else's hit, rapping over it. Now
I remember
then
hearing
later
that
on,
too.
he started feeding me ideas of like, you ought to sample that Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes. They got a little
Oh yeah.
groove in there.
Hmm.
So now he's throwing me song titles and suggestions
Oh,
after he sees like, I see how this is working now. So and to the ageism, because like you said, 20 to 30 to 40 to 50, you know, there's that wisdom that, you're not a fool getting older. You're learning
mhm.
from mistakes, past experience, and those need to be expressed to possibly help somebody, avoid some pitfalls that we might have went through. You got to I love to listen to older people and the wisdom that they can give you.
Exactly.
So and hip hop needs to embrace that. We're embracing the fact now, we should be, that we have 50, 60-year-old rappers and
Hmm.
that still have something relevant to say from life experiences. So, and Boogie said it earlier, like we're one of the only genres that act like that's taboo. Oh, you too old, your shelf life is over. We're not running up
Yeah.
and down the court. This ain't basketball. There's a shelf life to that. LeBron
Of
is beating
course.
that. But for hip hop, long as your vocals work and your mental faculties work, you should be able to, give some experiences to music and what's going on. Now, you might not get out there and dance like Big Daddy Kane. I saw a clip where he like, this is the last time we gonna do this with him and Scrap Lover.
He still does it
He-
though. He's still cold
But he
with it,
still get it
man.
in.
yeah, he was
Yeah.
a little huffing and puffing, but he pulled it off.
And no
So
backing
it's like,
track. He's not rapping over his vocals either. He's
right,
straight
he
still
he was
spitting it.
never that dude.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Somebody
yeah,
else
it was
did
like,
that too. Hmm.
um, Kid and Play. They was doing their look.
Yes.
I seen a video of them doing their thing. So yeah, we keep it going. We keep the youth coming in, but we got to definitely respect the elders and the pillars that have helped this game. And you fitting in where you kind of grew up there. Like even if you're getting in a little later in the game or you got mid in
Hmm.
the game, it feel like you're one of those artists. Like I know I feel like I've grown up with hip hop, might
Me
not have,
too.
been out in the forefront, but I've grown up with these artists and I still have something to say. And that needs to be acknowledged.
Yeah, I think Andre said it best, even though he was referring to the South. He said the South got something to say. Well, I'll say the older MCs have something to say, and we
Yes.
need to be listen, and we
Absolutely.
need to listen. We need to listen.
Amen to that. I mean, that's the biggest thing that, you know, again, you what other genre hates on, you know, the other older artists? I mean, when the older artists come out and
None.
go touring, they charge like $500 for the nosebleeds, right?
Hmm.
And like if you want
Yeah.
to get even where within close, you paying thousands a ticket, and those folks are embraced, and they are still putting out new songs. It's just crazy that there's that thing. And I remember also as a DJ, right? Like it was, when I was really heavy and active, it's like, oh, that's old. Why you playing that? Right. And I was like, what do you mean it's old? It just came out like a month ago. Oh man, come on, man. I mean, and that was like legitimate feedback sometimes that you would get, like, especially when I was at Skippers and stuff like that. It was like, why you playing that? It's old. It's like, dude, people look at the floor. Look at the dance floor. There's still people rocking with this, but why are you even bothering me? Like, what do you want to hear? I got it. I'll play it. We'll get to it. Go. Go away. Like, it's just, it's silly that, it's that sometimes folks in the culture don't like really, and especially nowadays, I think the thing that was what really, really hurt the game was the ringtone era, man.
Yes.
Mhm.
I agree
That's a
with you
short.
100%.
Yeah.
People were making music just for ringtones.
Yeah, I mean, that's
Yeah.
what really has hurt the culture as a whole because now people are more focused on the algorithm more so than they are on the art. And they're trying to get records to go viral versus trying to create records that will last, that are timeless. And so
Yeah.
the approach I'm taking is that I want to make records that will outlive me. I'm not just trying to go viral. Now, if it goes viral as a result of it being good music, then hey, I'll take it. But what's more important is creating music that will outlive you, creating
Yeah.
music that will shape the culture. To me, that's more beneficial to me as an artist. I can't speak for anyone else, but that's what I strive to do. I want to create songs that'll be memorable, songs that outlive me, and I want to be able to. I don't want to chase the algorithm. I'm not chasing to go viral on TikTok or wherever social media places where you need to try to get things going. I think if you make good music and you strive to make your music every time you get into the booth, and that's the objective, I think that's going to pan out for you over the long run. Because you look at all of the artists that are touring today, Kane made records 30 years ago, still touring off those same records. Rakim still
Hmm.
touring, Public Enemy still touring. And a lot of them,
Timeless.
they don't have a lot. A lot of times when they're touring off their own music. They
Yeah.
may drop some new music on the tour,
Yeah.
but when they're touring based on their classics, based on their previous records.
And
And so that just shows you the longevity of hip hop.
and they're actually getting the thing that when you speak about the older artists, they're getting more love overseas and going on European tours, going, to Japan, going throughout all overseas and getting and packing out and selling venues out and all over, even into Australia, New Zealand, like they're hitting every single continent and getting love. And especially like Japan, man, Japan, it's
Love it.
huge. Germany, they're getting love. And it's just like, Cypress Hill still out there touring, and they have a rabbit wherever they go, they sell out. Even here in the States, they sell out. I mean, yes,
Oh,
they're
yeah.
integrated with the cannabis culture as well, and that helps because they have, like, a cult following too. They're like the Grateful Dead and like uh of hip hop in regards to that, because they've, like they can do rock shows, rock festivals, and just like Public Enemy, right? Public
Yeah,
Enemy, it
exactly.
doesn't matter. I mean, they had, Be Real and Chuck D
Mhm.
were together, and with the cats from Rage Against the Machine, and they did the Prophets of Rage tour,
Yes,
right?
they did.
And and they're putting out all of these albums like Serial Killers, Be Real, Demrick, and of course X to the Z Exhibit, right? Putting
Oh,
that
yeah.
out and
Mhm.
killing it, right? There's just so much new music that's out there that's good, and just because they're independent now, because they have played the record label game and learned, and now more than ever you have the ability to go direct to consumer, right? um and you can bypass all of that, because I know you had mentioned, kind of like your strategy about making people buy your stuff, and if they want to hear it more so than just throwing it up on some of the streaming platforms. So it's like, nah, man, I want to get that bread, right? You know, and rightly so, rightly so. Like,
Correct.
you
Yeah,
know,
yeah. You got to change the way the mindset that people have. I think what streaming has done. Now, I don't, I'm not going to tell anyone not to stream, but the idea is to get them to buy your music. And I think people have become so comfortable not buying music because they can stream it.
mm,
It has been a disservice to artists because you're not really making any money off streaming. It's beneficial to the consumer, but it's a disadvantage to the artist. And people, when they do art, they want to be able to make some money off of what they're doing. I mean, you do it because you love the music, but at the end of the day, who wouldn't want to do what they love full time? And by being able to sell the vinyls, being able to sell the cassettes, the CDs, and the different physicals that you're able to sell, you're able to create a lifestyle that you can enjoy and still do what you love to do. And so when people are streaming and they're not buying the physicals, then it hurts the artist in the long run, and they're not positioned for um, I wouldn't say they want to be positioned for success, but they're not positioned financially where they can do this on a full time basis and continue to give us those classic hits that we heard in the 80s and the 90s and, even in the 70s. And so I would love to see that people, if they're streaming, let the streaming motivate you to go to the physicals and buy the artist music, buy their tickets when they're in town for doing tours or doing shows. And that way the artist can be positioned to continue making the music that you love to hear.
And then it's a direct connection with the artist too. If you liking this
Mhm.
music, you getting the physical copy. It's like a direct connection, which sometimes is missed through the streaming platform. And wanted to ask this, because you mentioned making timeless music. What's like some of your other objectives when you sit down to do a project that you want to put out to the public for consumption? What's You want to make it timeless? What's some of your other bullet points that you want to hit when you do a project?
I think the other thing is just being authentic to yourself. I think people need more artists that are willing to be vulnerable. Like if you had a situation that occurred, like for example, my mom had cancer. She beat it, but that's a life experience that some people may have had or may not or haven't had. But being vulnerable and talking about those things, talking about a situation where a father has his baby mama's creating a wedge between he and his son, and he can't have a relationship with his son because of that. So talking about real issues, but being vulnerable with those real issues and letting people know you're human, because I think people can relate to that more so than a fictionalized story. Of course we can use that. People can write whatever they want to write, but for me, as far as my process, I want to be real to whatever I put on paper. And not only that, I want to be authentic when I'm speaking, because whenever they hear my music, I want them to say, "Oh, that's so right." I want them to feel like they made a connection, like you mentioned earlier, make a connection with me, and I feel that's one of the ways I can do that.
Okay. And actually, and with that said, I like that answer. Um,
Mhm.
just to give them a little, the audience, when did you come up with the name SoulRac? What's the background of SoulRac?
Actually, it's my first name backwards with a U added, because my real name, my government name is Carlos, and so if you flip that,
Okay.
it's Soulrac, and you add the U to emphasize the word soul, because I like to make soulful music, and that's basically where the name came from.
I like it. I like it. So sometimes it's complicated, sometimes it's simple. Like, yeah, I flipped it backwards.
Mhm.
I like
And
that, and
some
and it
people,
fits.
Mhm. Well, thank you. I
Mhm,
appreciate that. You know,
mhm.
I definitely appreciate. I know it was somebody not too long ago. Just like, oh, I didn't see how you came up with Soul Rag. It's your name backwards. I was like, yeah, you figured it out. Because sometimes I get those every now and then when somebody actually
Yeah,
figured out how the name came about, and they just kind of, it's like they put a puzzle together, and they figured out. I was like, respect, for you figuring that out, because everybody don't always figure it out until later on it dawned on them, or they asked me and then I shared with them. And so they realize how it came about.
I like that, because my name is actually not. Everybody thinks G has got something to do with my name, and
Mhm.
it's not. It's like a lot of our lexicon was based off of Sanford and Son, and it was
Mhm.
Fred G. Sanford, and the G would always rotate into something different. So that's what the G, because
It's
it don't
true.
mean my name is G could mean whatever I want it to mean for the moment to fit,
Mhm.
that fits the situation. So
Mhm.
that's how that works. But I've had some rhymes
No.
I said, and then somebody come back 3, 4 later. When you said this, is this what you meant? So like
Mhm.
little, what they call them in like video game Easter eggs.
Oh yeah,
So when
yeah,
somebody,
that's what they call them. Yes. Mhm.
yeah, so when one of the fans or audience, they like, figure out something that you meant and it's actually what you meant. That's always
Mhm.
those are fun and inspiring stories.
Yeah, I like what you said. So you like to have something behind the words that you're speaking, so that way they can dig into it and pull more out of
Yeah,
what you said.
see
Mhm.
who's really paying attention, you know,
Mhm.
just
Yeah,
so
I
you're
like
getting beneath the surface.
Yeah, I like art. I like artistry like that. I want whenever I hear a record, I want you to challenge my thinking. I want to go. I want to dig deeper and pull out or extrapolate from what you have in that song, because there's double meaning. There's different things that you have hidden in the message of the song. And so when artists do that, that really gets my attention, because like, okay, there's something more to what I'm hearing. It's not just surface, but like you say, you dig deeper and get that Easter egg. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yo, so like getting back to like Welcome to America, right?
Okay. Mhm.
It's bringing a lot of new eyes to you. And, what was happening in your life when that record started forming?
Well, what was happening was that at the time, I was just seeing that there were a lot of things happening in America. I wrote the lyrics about 3 years ago, but it was almost prophetic in a sense, because at that time, Biden was still president at that time. I didn't know that who we have the current occupant will be there. But the song and its nature has more meaning now than it did then, because of what we're going through. But one thing that always remains the same: we're going to constantly deal with some of the challenges that we have, because we live in a world that is, that you have greed that's going on. You have people where there's, economic disparity. You have people that have and have nots, as they used to say. And so when you have those things happening, especially when you experience it, like today, like some of the things that we talk about in the song, where we talk about, not having enough food to eat, in Craig G part, and how we're talking about the economic struggle. That's something everybody can relate to, because you go to the gas. One thing that's universal to us is that if we have a car where you have to get gas, you're going to feel that pain at the pump. All of us have
Mm.
to eat. So you go to the grocery store, you're going to spend that money, you're going to feel that pain. And so you're putting in relatable issues, but more importantly, it starts with you first, what you feel. And what you feel triggers the lyrics to come to surface, and then you pin it down, and then you go into the booth and all the other things that happened before, so it can become a record. But
Yeah.
it begins with you first. I feel like you are the first recipient of the fruit. And then once you taste the fruit and you realize that it's bitter, that drove me to write the lyrics and make it a reality. And then fortunately for us, we were able to put the song out, and we did it with the right timing, because it resonates to what's going on now, and it's really dealing with a lot of things that we're seeing, and how so many people are in pain right now. Whether and it's not just isolated to America, it's global. It's a global experience.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
definitely
yeah, yeah.
global pain right now, man.
Mhm. Yeah.
Bitter fruit. I like that. You taste the
Yeah.
fruit and it's bitter.
Mhm.
So hey, when it's bitter, what do? You spit it out. Spit the
Exactly.
lyrics out.
Exactly. Yeah. So you get that's why. So that's
Question.
really what it is. You spit it out, and that's the best way to get it out, is put it on pen, put it on paper. You
What
know.
was the part of the song that took the longest to get right?
Ooh, I would say the part was hard. The longest to get right was the hook,
Okay.
because that was the part that you really needed
Mhm.
to cement what was said in the lyrics. You know, where it's talking about our heart is bleeding, and making it where it's relatable to everybody, but at the same time, you're showing shared pain,
Mhm.
because our heart is bleeding. What can we do to stop the bleeding? What can we do to stop the pain that people are going through? And just the idea of that America, we're always saying, well, we want to welcome people to America, and that's the ideal state that we present. But when people come to reality, it doesn't live up to the promise. And so people come here expecting economic opportunity. They come here expected to be treated like a human being, treated like they are worthy of respect. But the reality is not what they experience. And so I felt that it was my responsibility as an artist to speak to those things, because if no one does, who will? And so I took the responsibility to do it. And fortunately, Craig G was able to join me. Merciless provided production, and O was able to bring the harmony and melodies that we needed in order to create the song.
And for the folks who are just joining in, also that maybe it was missed out on the beginning of the recording, like, uh, tell us how Chuck D became connected to the project.
Well, the label is his label, Split Slam. And so
Okay.
the artists that are
Okay.
there, we get that connection through him, and we do it through the president, of course, C-Doc. And from there, we were able to get the endorsement and get the support of Chuck D, and really get him to get behind the record. And so that's the fortunate thing about it. The other beautiful thing about it is that the song "Welcome to America" is right in line with his legacy, because he's always been
Absolutely.
one to challenge the status quo. With all of the music that he did with Public Enemy, and even when he did solo projects, he's always challenging us as the American people to really look at things and really see that things are not the way that it's presented on social media. It's not presented properly on the news. And so he's always challenging us. So I felt like this song is definitely a great follow up to what he's been doing for all these years. And so I'm grateful to have his endorsement. And more importantly, I'm even grateful to even be on his imprint or his label, Spitchland.
Yeah,
Yeah, that
because
that that artist that makes you pop the hood, look up
Mm-hmm.
underneath. That what's
Yes.
shiny on the outside might be whitewashed. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
yes. And
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I have to, credit Chuck D and KRS-One as two of the individuals who really helped shaped and reshaped and challenged my view of the world as a young
Me too.
man.
Mm-hmm.
And really opened my eyes up and took a look, and it was through hip hop, and it was through that conscious music that was telling a different story than what and a different history than what I was being told, and learned in school, what was in the school books, right? And we were lucky enough to have some classes in high school that were strictly African American study, and taught by some great teachers who were letting us, and opening us up, and like introducing me to people like Marcus Garvey and Malcolm X and all of the the revolutionary, and actually getting the real picture, and it's just a thing that wasn't necessarily taught in the normal curriculum of, school when I was growing up, and it was like, wow,
They
this
trying
is
to.
I was blessed because I came from it's like here in Cincinnati is one of the first historical black villages, and like at our school, the biggest thing in there was the Black History contest. And like
Mhm.
the real history, it's like not the washed over history, but the
Yeah.
real history. And they gave trophies, second, third grade trophies were as big as you. So that was a big thing
Mm.
to compete and win. So when we moved out of that neighborhood, moving, to suburbs, and going to a new school, it was like I'm correcting the teacher, like, nah, nah, that ain't what I learned. she they, they wasn't too happy with my
Yeah, I was gonna say
knowledge
you got
of
the tension, like probably like
not the teacher because I backed up my sword and made her go and research. And well, little Mr. Smith was right about that one. But so it was like, with early rap, I was like, love the battle rap, the brag rap, and then the conscious rap came natural because I was already in undated with black history and things of that nature. And I think Run DMC did a pretty good job where They give you Hard Times
Oh
and
man, I
8
love
Million
that.
Stories, and then they have
Oh,
then
whoa,
they'll go to Jam Master Jay and the
yes.
Rock Box. So they
Hmm.
gave you like Conscious and Party and Lil
Oh yeah,
DJ.
absolutely.
So they gave you
They
that My Adidas. They gave you that mixture.
They did, and that's one thing, and I think that's why they catapulted to the level they did. Because to me, they was like one of the first ones that became, for lack of a better word, like the superstar of hip hop because of the fact that they was diverse, number one, but they were able to talk about so many different things, like you said, hard times, and they talked about my Adidas, and they were able to make that into like a brand for hip hop, as far as getting an endorsement and things of that nature
Hmm.
because they brought the attention to Adidas. So they were the first ones that kind of made it where they kind
Right.
of brought out fashion, you know. And so they did so many things as a
Endorsing,
group.
selling.
Yeah. Yeah, they done so many things as a group that people don't even recognize that they contributed to the culture. But I want to circle back to what you was talking about, Ghost Boogie, when you was talking about how you became introduced to, history, especially I'm born in Florida, so they really didn't have a lot. Right now, our government is trying to whitewash anything related to Black history. They're trying to ban books and all of those
Hmm.
type of things. And even indoctrinate the youth not to
Yeah.
have anything related to Black history. And so it's going to be my responsibility as an artist to really bring those things back to the forefront and really educate the youth here and beyond through my music, and even if I'm able to do it from a curriculum standpoint. But hip hop did the same thing for me. It really made me aware of my identity, especially with KRS-One and Chuck D and different more and others who contributed, X Clan and so many others.
King
It really
Son,
made me really
Paris.
become aware of who I was and what my ancestors who my ancestors were, because my education in school was the only thing you knew about Black history was MLK and enslavement. That's all you knew. There wasn't
Yeah.
anything beyond that, but hip hop gave me that knowledge. It filled in the holes that were there, and it helped me learn because I didn't have that type of education at home. I went to my own studies. I studied on my own and educated myself. But hip hop was that catalyst. It was that spark that really gave me that knowledge that I didn't have in school or outside of school.
Yeah, man.
That's
Absolutely.
crazy. And
Oh yeah,
we've
Hmm.
had people like my frat brother Jay Rawls. We've had Ill Poetic. We've had Toby. We've had different people on the podcast that's actually teaching classes in hip hop and music theory of that nature. So hip hop has come a long way. It's done a lot of great things, and that's
it
why we're here
has.
now.
Yeah.
And we get to learn, get to pique our interest, and and love to have people like you to keep that foundation of what sparked you to help spark somebody else to
Absolutely.
want to do it and learn new things. It's a good
Yeah.
jump off of that.
Yeah, you got artists like, Hakeem Green, he's working with New Jersey to do the 24 hours of peace. And so you got a lot of people who are really doing things beyond just the music, but they're actually trying to make changes socially. And they're trying to do it by creating platforms like that. And you got what's happening on the 4th of July in Philly and so many other places where we as artists, we're taking our music to the streets literally, meaning that we're trying to do something in the streets and transform the streets and really make a difference by educating people and doing workshops and all of that. So I'm really happy to be a part of the culture and seeing how much we progressed from the time that we were, breakdancing and, playing break beats and things of that nature to now. Not only we're a global phenomenon, but we also have an education component that we added as well.
And I think it's so
Absolutely.
important that, that the truth is told, because when the truth is told, it generates an opportunity for understanding on all sides, right? And
Absolutely.
you know, if folks can remove themselves and everybody can learn and also approach the topic from an understanding and an acceptance, of this is what happened. And also, not just the things that happened negatively, but also all of the positive things that happened through like Black history, right? With, you know, the first heart surgeon and
Oh
you know,
yeah.
just all of the advancements and all of the things that, you know, at the end of the day, I always say it like this. If you're laying on your deathbed and you're needing a transplant, I guarantee you that person, the majority, 99.9% of the people out there, don't care if they get blood from
That's
whoever,
true.
whatever,
That's
organs
true.
from whatever. All they want to do is live, and also all their people that are around them, all they want to do is get them something so their loved one can live. So when people really stop to think and believe and realize that the only thing that separates us is really culture and geography, and you know, some of the just different things that, you know, are intrinsic to the different races and religions, cultures, and things of that nature. But we're still one race. We're humans. We're humans, and until we can start to have that conversation and respect each other, like, listen, regardless, yes, and all humans, regardless of what color, what creed, what religion, whatever these individual humans subscribe to, there's always going to be good people. There's always going to be shady people. There's always going to be evil people, right? And it doesn't matter, regardless of who and what they look like. Everybody, for the most part, the general 99 or 95% want the same thing. They just want to have a good, safe life for them and their loved ones, to see their children, to see their grandchildren grow. And I hate the fact that when I was younger, especially in the 90s, and I was with Fresh, and we've talked about it, you know, we had a crew that was so diverse and multicultural, and none of us was hung up on any of that. And I truly believed in my heart of hearts that when I got to this age of 50 this year, like, you know, uh I thought we were going to be behind this bullshit, and the fact that it seems like it's, I don't know, it just seems like it's worse now than it was then.
Well, you know what part of the problem is that people have capitalized off racism. They have used it as a way to monopolize their financial coffers, and that's what drives some of it. Because
The
if I
division.
can, yeah, because some people benefit from it. I mean, you know, the current occupant, that's why he does what he does, because one of the best way to distract people whenever you have, and I don't want to get too political, because I know the show is primarily focused on hip hop
We
here.
talk about
Uh,
whatever we want here,
okay,
fam.
all right.
This
Well,
is
then
this is
I
our
won't go
show.
too deep into it. But at the end of the day, I think that they're using those elements to keep people fighting against one another, so they can continue to do what they're doing. And part of that is enriching themselves. When you can make money off getting people to vote for you because you're gonna keep the Mexicans out, or you're gonna do this, or you're gonna do that, and you get people to vote for you, and then you can
Here.
sell merchandise off of that, and you continue to benefit from it. Then it makes it easier for you to manipulate people because there's a financial component to it.
Yeah.
I think one of the things we have to do with politics specifically is take the money aspect out of it. A person shouldn't
Amen.
be able to have a lobbyist get them $1 million to help them sway a vote. That shouldn't be a possibility,
Break up
because
all political action groups, PACs.
exactly. There shouldn't be super PACs or PACs, period. It's
Nope.
people should get there the right way, win the votes of the people, and get and become elected for that reason, not because you have the best commercials that you can afford because you had $1 billion donation and you can be more competitive than the other person who doesn't have that, who's not using a super PAC or a PAC, but they're doing what most people should be doing is getting the votes by meeting with the people and finding out their issues and learning what's going on versus I'm gonna tear you down to a point and put all your dirty laundry out there to try to tear your character down so much so I can get everybody to hate you but like me. You know, that needs to get out of politics. The money need to get out of politics. We need to get back to winning people based on the value systems that we should have and winning them based on speaking to their needs.
Yeah, it
Term
turns
limits.
into a schoolyard crack session. And
Exactly.
I want to say this, man, because my new name is IB Still. Y'all see,
Okay.
I ain't blinked in a while.
Okay.
I
I
think
like that name. I be still.
I be still. I'm like,
I was wondering why you didn't move,
I'm listening. It's been like that for 10 minutes. I want to refresh. But
Refresh yourself, man.
refresh
refresh
yourself.
yourself.
Yeah.
Refresh yourself.
But I was wondering,
Um,
but that's definitely gonna be your nickname. I be still. I was like, man, he's
but
he's
we,
very composed. I
but we
mean, he
had
didn't move one
and normally I'm fidgeting, but yeah, we had a college coach, and he had one of them eyes that didn't move, like the one eye was rolling,
Oh,
and we called him IB Still because we didn't know if he was
Okay.
like, hey, go over and get the ball. If you didn't say a name, we didn't know who you was looking at, so we didn't know who you was
hmm
talking to, so we called him IB Still.
I had a
That's funny.
I had a cross-eyed football coach, man. It was like, who you
Oh man.
talking to? Like, who are you yelling at right now? Like, you yelling at him or you yelling at me? Like,
I think Richard Pryor said, "Oh, he was cockeyed." He said, "Nigga picked it up," and 5 niggas bend over to pick it up because he know who he talking to.
Yeah, Richard Pryor was a nutcase, man.
I
I
love
missed
Richard
him.
Pryor, man.
Yeah,
I
I
grew up
miss his
Big
listening to
company.
Richard
influence,
Pryor.
big influence.
Yeah,
Him,
yeah,
Red Fox.
absolutely.
I remember
Do
my mom would take me to the drive-in theaters because she loved Richard
hmm
Pryor, and I would be sitting there watching Richard Pryor
Oh
as a
man.
youngin.
Yeah,
What were you saying,
Richard
Fresh? I'm
Pryor.
sorry I cut
she
you off.
took you to see it live. One of his like
Yes,
live at Sunset Strip type things.
yes. We stayed.
Ooh,
We stayed at the drive-in down the skate. Thank you so much for those biddies. And much love to everybody that's here live. Yes, my mom and my dad, we didn't have a lot of means, and one of the things that was cheap to do on over the weekend was, I mean, you had a whole evening of entertainment. I would get my bath. They put me in my underoos. I'd have my Superman underoos on, you know what I mean? Like the
da,
long
da, da,
joints.
da.
Yeah, I was like showing up or Batman. And you go out there and play,
hmm
and at the playground in front of the
Mhm.
thing, and then we'd watch the movies, and then I was supposed to, quote unquote,
The
lay
cartoons
down and
first.
go to sleep when those
Oh, of
movies would
course.
come on, and I'd like be laying looking through the crack of the headrest
Of
watching the
course.
whole thing. I just couldn't chuckle. I had to be
hmm
quiet. But yeah, like I was absolutely either that or there was the adult cars and the kid cars
hmm
and all
Yeah,
of that stuff. I mean, I was exposed with all of it, Cheech and Chong, and
Oh yeah,
just
absolutely,
all of the stuff. I mean,
absolutely.
it was just that was the thing to do, and those are great memories and fun
yes. A
times.
shout out to any fucking kid that was under the age of 8 or 9 and made it through both features without falling asleep.
Oh
That's why
yeah,
you
I'm
was in your
telling you.
underoos. You was in your
Yeah,
underoos because they transferred you to your bed when you got home.
exactly.
yeah.
You
That
was
was the
watching the
strategy.
screen. Next thing you know, you was like, I'm in the bed. What happened?
I would sleep but when the movie went off and we were driving home, that's when I would go to bed. But like
hmm
I was one of them
You stayed up.
ADHD full of yeah, man. Like I was full of energy. Like my mom said I was a problematic child. I was like, man, I don't even know how to take that, man. Whatever.
I would fight that. But let me ask this before I refresh here. Um,
Sure.
work with some great artists. You got Chuck D back in the project,
Mhm.
Craig G, Juice
Man.
Crew on it. What's a bucket list of artists, producers that you would like to work with in your
Oh
career?
man. Um, Artists, I would love to do a song with Rakim and Big Daddy Kane for sure. I would like to do a
Absolutely.
song with everybody that was on the symphony.
Mm.
That's on my bucket list for sure. Big Daddy Kane, Cool G Rap, Rakim. KRS-One, definitely KRS-One.
The Blast
And,
Master.
you know, I mean, the list can go on and on because there's so many. I mean, a lot of the legacy artists I would love to work with just to get that experience. That's one of the things that, you know, I think about with the label, Spit Slam. There are some legacy artists that's on there. So that's always a plus, just being in a good company. But as far as producers, Pete Rock, DJ Premier, you know, I wouldn't turn down a beat from Kanye West either. I mean, anybody that, well, Easy Mo B for
Man,
sure, definitely Easy Mo
Easy
B.
Mo B is one
Oh
of
man,
the greatest to do it of all time, man. Like I took
yes,
my daughter through because I'm teaching my daughter like music and music that's important to me because is loves music like I do.
okay,
And like, you know, I'm like, all right, so he produced this song, he produced this
mhm,
song, he produced this song. Because he actually streams live on Twitch as well. He DJs
okay,
live on Twitch, and he'll do like the other day. The last time I caught him, he was doing a whole like live house set,
mhm,
and he's got a big old room full of records as well, and just pulling. He's up on stools and like on ladders, pulling stuff off you know, from the
it's great,
ceiling and all of that stuff, and
great.
spinning live. I mean, he's a legend, right? And
Yes,
Easy Mo B is one of the coldest to do. I love Easy
yes.
Mo B, man. Easy Mo
Marley
B for
Marl
real.
too is another one that I would love to work
Oh
with as
yeah.
well. Yeah,
You
but
know,
Easy Mo. Mhm.
go ahead, please. Sorry.
I was just gonna say I was watching something. I think it was an Instagram reel. And Easy Mo B was saying the song that Biggie used, the warning, or the one that Biggie has, the warning. He originally had that for Big Daddy Kane, but Big Daddy Kane didn't want
Yep,
it. I
I
was
saw
like,
that.
wow. And I was like blown
Turn
away
that
because,
down.
yeah, turned it down and look what did Biggie got it and flipped it. Mhm.
Yeah, and Down the Skate has a question.
Okay.
Are you working with Chuck? You know, because it
Mhm.
was nice to see him collab a few years ago with Brad Tom and Tim and Prophets of Rage, and of course, you know, Be Real on that. He wants to know, uh, you know, you're on Spit Slam, his label, and
Mhm.
that kind of backs up my question was
Mhm.
when he first heard the record,
Mhm.
what did he say to you?
Well, that's the thing that we're doing now that we're having conversations about as far as his reaction to it,
Yes, sir.
because he's definitely in the process of really giving us his full feedback on it, and so that's something that's in the works right now because his
Dope.
schedule is so hectic right now. So having that ongoing conversation with him is
Yeah.
rather challenging. But as far as answering the other question, as far as working with him, that's something that I'm definitely looking forward to do in the future. That's something that I'm definitely working towards. But again, he's a very busy person, so being able to say a specific time, I can't provide that right now. But it's something I'm definitely looking forward to doing in the future, for sure.
You're nurturing that relationship and hoping that it
Absolutely,
continues to grow.
absolutely,
You're putting the
absolutely.
water and the seeds and everything in the soil.
Yes, yes, absolutely. So I'm one of the artists that's on there, but I'm definitely that's one of my goals because one of my colleagues, Black Medine, they got him on a song with them, and there are many others that's on there as well. And so I'm looking to be one of those ones to follow in the same footsteps,
Gotcha.
being one of the newest ones on the label.
Well, hey man, that really is it's amazing, and I know that had to have been like something that a surreal experience,
Mhm.
especially you being a hip hop head
Oh,
and
absolutely,
being in it, like
absolutely.
to be able to have something put out by him, and you know him to
Of
actually
course,
put his stamp on it, right? And you
of
worked with
course.
Craig G, you know,
Mhm.
previously on Belly of the Beast, right? And
Mhm.
that was the first time you got a chance to work with him, and you had mentioned that uh, your brother up in Canada that had passed away introduced
Yeah,
you to
Big
him.
Bob.
Yeah, Big Bob, and you know, to be able to, you know, work with someone from the Juice Crew right away, you know, what was
Oh
that
yes.
like? You know what I mean?
Oh,
Because
that was. I'm telling you. First of all, just being able to have him on the Belly of the Beast track and just, I was a fan, so when I heard his voice on the track, I was like, yo, I was just so ecstatic about it when I got his version of the track. And he was on there. And then from there, we communicated with one another and stayed in touch. And so we ended up doing Welcome to America again. And one thing I would say about Craig G, is that he's a lyricist, and he's so diverse as a hip hop artist. And he's been in the game for a long time, and I haven't seen where he just stayed consistent the whole time, which for him to be in the game as long as he has, as well as others, and still be consistently dope, to me, that's a testament to his longevity as an artist. And so working with him, to me, it's a learning experience because you grow as an artist because you see how they write and you see those different nuggets that they put into the song. And so it only going to make you a better artist, as you work with these legacy artists like a Chuck D, like a Craig G, a Masta Ace, even had an opportunity to work with Hakeem Green as well. And so just having those artists being on your records and working with them not only helps you grow as an artist, but it also gives you an opportunity to really see where you measure up. I mean, let's just be honest. As artists, we are competitive. We are competitive. And so it's friendly competition, but you always want to strive to throw your best 16, 32 or whatever. But just seeing where you measure up as far as those artists, it really helps you. It's a humbling experience, but not only that, it's an opportunity to grow into your art.
Yeah. If you can bat clean up, that's what I used to like.
Okay, well, that's a good way to put it.
The symphony is like who should go last, even
exactly.
though they but if you know in baseball 1 through 4, you got somebody got to start it off. The second got to maintain it. Third got to solidify, and the fourth come in with the home run. So that lineup is like that order. It's like, can I be in that order like that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I'm looking forward, just to kind of answer the question of the previous person. Yeah, I'm looking forward to doing a track with Chuck D. And so I definitely see that on the horizons. And not only him, but others. There are many, like you talked about earlier in my bucket list. I'm planning to mark some of them name off that I mentioned on that bucket list as I continue to make music and continue to grow as an artist.
But I mean, like you mentioned in Masta Ace, right? And back to the basics, man. Like back to the basics with Masta Ace, that's huge. What was the original idea behind that record, fam?
Well, you know what it was? I connected with Masta Ace through a mutual friend. And so we went through the process of choosing the beat. And so Mercilless also produced that track as well. DJ Mercilless, shout out to him. And so, what I did, I was like, okay, well, here go 3 beats. And, I'm going to set the table for you. Here go 3 beats. So I let him choose it because he's the vet. So I said, you go ahead and choose the beat. So he chose the beat. And then once he got the beat, I took the beat and then I wrote the hook for the track. And then I was like, okay, this is what I got. And then he put his 16 bars on there. I put my 16 bars on there. And then I gave it to the magician, which is Mercilless, and he produced the product that we have today. But it was pretty much a simple process, basically. And most of the time, whenever I'm working with a vet, I always try to give them respect. We'll go through a collaboration as far as selecting the beat. And then either I can make the hook or they can make the hook, whichever way, whoever feeling it at that time. And then from there, we write our 16, we put it together. And then we bring it to the wizard, which can be whoever the producer is or whoever the engineer is, to really put those finishing touches on the track. And that's basically my process, basically.
Why that title, though?
Back to the basic?
Yes, sir.
Because the idea of it is really returning back to what hip-hop really was, breaking away from the auto-tune, breaking away from, I call it noise, and getting back to where we have a clear signal so we can really hear what's being said. Not just trying to make you dance, not just trying to make a viral record, but really saying something with substance. I believe that's what we need to do more of, is have substance in our music, because there are so many people out there that we can reach that might get overlooked because of the fact that we're not adding as much substance as we need to. And I'm not discounting those who do, but we need more of it. And that way we can really continue to give more legs or more longevity to the culture.
Now, you had listed that Back to the Basic was reported as like the single from the EP produced solely by Mercilless. What happened to that EP? Is that still
That
coming out?
EP, I'm still working on it. In fact, I'm going to turn it into an album because I
Okay.
feel like it needed more music added. And
Okay.
so it has right now 5 songs, and I want to do at least 12, so that
Okay.
way I can have enough to get it, so it can have longevity. I want to make it a timeless classic. That's ideally what I want. And so I want to take the time to really make the songs that will really follow the theme, which is going back to the basics and offering all the elements that we had in the 90s, you know. And so that's why I'm taking time to really do it, because I want to do it right. Because you only get one time to make a good impression. And
Yes, sir.
so I don't want to just put anything out. I want to put the right thing out, because at the end of the day, whatever SoulRac put out, I'm going to get judged by it. And so I got to make sure that when I do it, I go hard.
Right.
Yeah, man. You know, and moving to like Big Bob and Soul Police. I cannot say the word because you know I'm tongue tied.
That's okay.
And the early records, right? You know, getting back to
Mm-hmm.
the basics. Big Bob appears across several important of your albums. You know,
Mm-hmm.
what did Big Bob understand about your sound early on that helped you bring out the best in you?
I think, and rest in peace to Big Bob. I think what
Yes.
Big Bob did, he gave me a platform where I can discover myself as an artist, because when I started working with him, I was coming back into the game after an absence. And so he gave me beats and he challenged me as far as my writing, because I was challenged to write songs that was kind of outside of my spirit. That was kind of outside of my zone, even though I was a conscious rapper in nature. But the type of melodies that he was creating, the type of beats he was creating were unique to me, because I was used to a certain flavor of sound. And so having his sound really challenged me and helped me to pin my music to different type of sounds, where I break me out of the box rather, and help me write to different sounds that were different than what I was used to. And so that's one thing that he did. The other thing he did was that he connected me with people that were either a legacy artist like the Craig G,
Hmm.
and also connected me with artists that were up and coming like VVS Verbal, who was on the belly of the beast. And
Yeah.
so he connected me with the right people. And not only that, he helped me develop a different sound or a different way to write to different music. And so those contributions were timeless that he provided for me.
That's dope.
Mhm.
You know, the one thing that I have to say, the song that really spoke to me, and we talked about it
Mhm.
beforehand, was his story, and
Mhm.
you know, talking about generational trauma and
Oh yeah.
how that people really don't understand that and how it impacts someone, you know, without them even knowing. And
Exactly.
because it impacts the parents and the way that they parent, but also, I mean, it is scientifically proven that generational trauma, uh, it gets embedded in our DNA, and it takes a conscious effort for someone to finally become aware of it and break it and
Like,
make a determined to change it, right? And what inspired you to sit down and write that record, man?
Oh man,
Because
I would say,
it hit me like that was I played that like 20 times today, bro.
yeah, history or his story, as you know, depending on how you
Yes.
want to, is really my story written to my son, who is yet to become a man. And I take him through my life cycle, basically starting off with my 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 uncle, who was addicted. He was a Vietnam War veteran. He came back, got addicted to crack.
Thank you for the
My father
service.
was incarcerated. My father was incarcerated from the time that I was born, and still is to this day. And then my mom was a teenage mother. So I grew up in an environment that wasn't, it was, most people will say that it was a dysfunctional family. And then on top of that, my grandma was the person that really sowed her seed in me and really developed me as a young person, and then even to the age of 17 before she died untimely. So all of that was my beginning, and I didn't want my son to have those same experiences. And so when I say his story, this is my story, but it's my history as well. And so I want you to learn from me, because one of the hooks was like, I don't want you to walk in my shoes. I want to prevent you from walking in my shoes. by telling you my story and letting you know that you don't have, even though your life may have started a certain way, it doesn't have to end up that way. And that was just my testament to him. And not only just him, any person that has like experiences, they can overcome their past and be better. You don't have to fall pride. I mean, you don't have to fall to the streets. You don't have to fall to all of those things that are in your environment because you grew up a certain way. You can actually make a difference, and you can be different if you choose to be different. And so that's what it's about.
Yeah, break that cycle, break the chain, to progress and set a whole new path. And learn from where we came from to change where we're going. So I mean, the history is definitely important, and that's so impactful for people, which brings us back to the need for older MCs.
Exactly.
We tell these stories of how we progressed in hip hop, and which is part of our life to help the next generation make some more prudent decisions.
Yeah, we need those voices. I mean, like you said before, if I didn't go through what I went through, and you just mentioned it a moment ago, Ghost Boogie, you were saying how that song affected you and you listened to it multiple times. We need those type of experiences for the listeners. We need those experiences where we can touch the heart and change the mind or influence people to make decisions that they wouldn't have made if they didn't have that knowledge shared with them. And you can't really get that type of knowledge from a 20-year-old. I mean, it's not much they can really share as far as life experience. I want to hear that from a 60-year-old man. I want to hear that from somebody 50, 40, and even older than 60, whomever can share. But that's what I need so I can get through this phase of my life, because there are men right now who are dealing with mental health issues, who are traumatized from, marital situations and different things like that. And they need people that can speak to it, because if we don't do it, who will? If we don't do it, who's going to do it?
It's our job to do it. It is our job to do it. And it's our job to actually make sure that we reach out to the youth and, and connect with your children and connect with even, through programs like Big Brother programs, or you see kids in the neighborhood. And don't be the creepy old man, but if you have kids that are reaching that you know what I mean, that are around and hanging out, you know what I mean, and you have the ability to talk without getting labeled, but like seriously though, because you gotta proceed with caution on some things, but but
absolutely,
stranger danger.
Yeah, right, exactly. But to have those conversations, and it's important because I all I do is share with my children everything that I can nonstop. I'm like, back in the 1900s, as they call me, like
of course,
all the way back in the 19. Yeah, back in the 1900s, we did it like this. But here's a lesson that here's the big thing about it. Getting into I mentioned Ozone SoulRac, right? Going back to the basics with Masta Ace, and Orlando gets called Ozone in some hip hop circles.
Yes.
When did you first heard that term, and what does it mean locally?
To me, it's more or less like just kind of like the area, the culture, basically the culture of Orlando.
Yeah.
As far as when I first heard that, I heard it since I was pretty much in middle school all the way up until now.
Okay.
But Orlando, like I said before, there are many artists that are in Orlando that's really doing their thing. I've been privileged enough where I've been able to do work with people from across the world as far as producers and things of that nature.
Yeah.
And so I've been able to expand in that sense. But at the end of the day, my DNA will always be Orlando because that's where I was born and raised. And so I would say that even though that's a ecosystem that's in Orlando, I think all of us who are tied into Orlando, whenever we go outside of that bubble, we are creating different platforms in different areas. For example, DJ Nasty, he's from Orlando. In fact, I was in the studio with him years ago, and now he's in North Carolina. But DJ Nasty he and his brother produced some dope tracks for a lot of hip hop artists. And he's from Orlando, and so he and his brother from Orlando. And so a lot of times Orlando don't get the recognition it needs because most people don't want to say that they're from Orlando because of the fact that it's not a big city like New York or Philadelphia and things of that nature. But I'm gonna go against the trend and I'm gonna rep Orlando until I die, because at the end of the day, I don't want to forget where I came from, because where we come from shapes who we are.
Yes.
Absolutely. Ozone. I remember the magazine. I don't know if you was familiar with that. I didn't, and that's interesting. I never knew. They did more of like the trap southern music,
Mm-hmm.
less boom bap. But her name was Julie Beverly. Ozone magazine. I knew some artists.
Yeah, Ozone magazine. Yep, that's right.
Yeah, so I never knew that was a nickname for Orlando. So learned something new.
Mm-hmm.
See,
Yeah,
these
Old
niggas
Town,
compete with shit.
Ozone. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, absolutely.
I still got stacks of. I never knew that Ozone was based off of or a nickname for Orlando.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Like, and making sure that we are being considerate of your time. I want to have an opportunity to talk about the fact that you're CEO of Enlighten Music Group International. Now, the spelling of the name Enlighten feels intentional. Why did you spell it that way?
Well, it's spelled that way because it's about bringing people into the light, bringing it into the light. And that's basically dealing with consciousness and really bringing attention to what music that we want to educate people, almost like KRS-One with entertainment, but taking a different direction. But we want to educate people as much as we entertain them. But we want to bring them into the light, get them out of the darkness, get them out of that noise, get that clear signal, as I mentioned earlier. So when they hear hip hop, they can really see that hip hop is more than just shaking your butt. And, and I can't really, I'm from Florida, so I get what that's about. I grew up among that music, bass music and the Luke Skywalkers and all of those and that nature.
Magic
but
Mike.
Just because that's a part of the culture, it's not the only part of the culture.
Yeah. Right.
So I understand that well. Yes.
When did you start it? When did you start the label?
I started the label in 2018. That's when I started. Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
And I used it because originally the goal was because I was going to be a behind the scenes guy and just kind of work it from a label where artists would come through and things of that nature. But it ended up being that I was like, hey, one of my friends who's from France, he inspired me and said, you need to get back into doing music again. Because I was more into the backside of promoting and doing more of the marketing piece of it. But then she inspired me to get back into the game. And then at that point, the label really became a launch pad for my career. That's what I ended up doing.
Interesting. I know you've mentioned it a couple of times. What were you doing on the promotion side of things?
Well, I promoted a lot of things. At one time, I was part owner of a nightclub in Tampa. I promoted comedy shows. That's one thing I used to do. I did a show with, Tony Roberts. I worked with Ricky Smiley, one of the artists that Ricky Smiley was working with. He came to a show that we did, and I was just really on the Tampa scene, really working with comedy at that point, even Orlando as well. And that was one of the areas that I pushed, but also was in the business side. I was doing the business side as well, like doing the label, but also being a promoter of the comedy shows, local acts as far as doing music and things like that, even got into spoken word. And that's part of the thing that I do on the side as well. I write poetry, spoken word art. So I'm kind of diverse in a lot of different things, but that's one of the areas I definitely tapped into.
Absolutely, man.
Dope. That's dope. That's good. That's good information.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Now, I seen that you have connections to Afemi Music and a vice president title. What is Afemi Music, and what work have you done there as well?
Well, Afemi Music, at one time I was working with them as the vice president of marketing and things of that nature. And basically that was a label that was associated with Cali Range, which is a reggae artist. Yeah. And they were putting together an independent label, which was, most of the artists were based in Orlando. They had a couple that was outside of that. And so I kind of lended my marketing talents to them as far as how to position a record label in a way that they can draw attention to it and help these indie artists really get some exposure. And so that was a temporary stint that I was doing. But of course, one of the benefits of that is that one of my partners that I still work with today, he goes by the name of Bones. We're working together to do some other projects that we're looking to do and really expand our palette for what we're doing. So my experience with Afemi was really good because it helped me to get to see it from a perspective of working under somebody else's label versus having my own label, and using all of those years of experience that I had with marketing and where I worked with different things such as comedy, spoken word, and even some of the music local acts that were there. All of that was able to be tested out and get a chance to be proven, because now I can put those experiences into a indie record label.
That's dope. That's dope.
Oh, yeah.
Now, if I was to ask you to pull one item from your personal archive that explains SoulRac, what would it be?
Oh, I think we talked about it. History. I think history would be the one.
Right on. That because having a son too, I have twins, one boy, one girl, and both of them, and just still, having a son and a daughter and being a parent that, I had to come over, overcome some things as well. And, and it's that again, that one, like, boom, like I was just like, woo, I love that one, man. So that's dope. Fresh, you got anything?
No, I'm sitting here fooling in the background with IT shit. I'm listening. I'm full.
Fight the power, my brother.
I just don't want to be. I don't want to be talking over you. Like, you know what I mean? I want to make sure you get a chance to get it.
Hey, we talked about this backstage. Got one of them fucking down dates. This computer's going nuts, so I done switched to the phone. But we getting through it.
All right, so what was the first person in Orlando to treat your music like it mattered? Like when because I know you went to the studio. You started writing rhymes at 8 or 9 years old. Then your first studio session was at 14 years old, and you went in there with no music and you were just beatboxing. I remember the first time I went into the studio, it was up to me to make the beat while the other guys went out and got weed. And like me and T-Zone Valentino Contracts whipped up a beat in about like 15 to 30 minutes. He was the one that showed me how to use the MPC 3000, and that's what I learned. And I took Lattimore Let's Straighten It Out and like whipped up a beat for that one, and like it was fun. I still got it on tape. I got to digitize it before it dies. But yeah, what was the first person in Orlando like that really, once you started putting out music, that like gave you that boost?
I think the first person that did that was, and I still talk to him today. I see him as a big brother. His name, he used to go by Divine King, but he called himself D now. He's more into the video production piece now, but he was the one that really saw value in my art and made me realize that what I was writing was of value. And for that, I'm forever indebted to him because of that. And, along the way, as I continue to do music, even in this new era that I'm in right now, I'm thankful to, my friend in Francis, and I'm thankful for the people that support me right now. I'm grateful for them, because if they didn't believe in the music, they wouldn't do what they're doing. And so I'm grateful for them as well, because we're being an artist. One of the challenges of being an artist is that your job is always to create art. And you need people that believe in you enough to do the other things that you don't want to do, or don't have time to do. And so when you got people like that, that to me is like having $1 million, because that can help you get to the next level. And let's be honest, when you're a human being, there are times you may have doubt. You're like, man, I don't know if this track sound right, or I don't know if this is that or this is that. And so having people around you that will be honest and critique your music and say, hey, man, that's not the one, or you need to go back and do that. You need that as an artist, because you need to have those checks and balance. Because, ideally in our head, it sounds dope. But when you have that measure where you can have people to say, hey, that don't sound right, that helps you grow, and it helps you become a better artist. And I'm thankful for those who I have now and those I had along the way to help become that check and balance, so that way I can be the person I need to be, and I can produce the music that will move the crowd. As Rakim said.
Dope.
Mm.
All
Well
right.
said. Well said.
So we're gonna do a couple more questions, and then we're gonna go
Okay.
ahead and replay. Basically, Welcome to America. But to get back to that, what does Welcome to America say about the country right now, in your opinion?
It says a lot of things. One of the things it says that we don't live up to what we're projecting on a global scale as well as a national scale. It says that we have two Americas, the America that was promised and the America that was lived. The other thing it says is that we got to start learning to see ourselves as human beings, as you stated earlier, and begin to recognize that every person on this planet has value.
Yes.
And we have to get beyond. We have to challenge these corporations who are monopolizing off the banner of racism, that are using politics to keep people down and keep people economically oppressed. We have to challenge those things, whether we do it through voting, whether we do it through our music, or we do it by having dialogue with one another like we're doing tonight. We got to learn to talk to one another instead of going into our groups and isolating ourselves from the world. We need to talk through our differences versus fighting over our differences.
Yes, and the way also is to sometimes agree to disagree instead of just
Exactly.
trying to win.
Mhm.
You can disagree with someone, but you can still learn. And I try to tell everyone that I reach out to is like, listen, man, like, whatever happened to the point where we could sit down, have a conversation, and regardless of if you have an opinion or a view that maybe doesn't align with what, and I still, after having that conversation, I may not agree with what you're saying, but because I had that conversation and you had the conversation with me, and we talked civilly, we both are able to learn a little bit more about where we're coming from, right? And you're able to understand, like, oh, okay, I never even thought about it that way. And it challenges your own opinion. And as we talk about, as we get older, we have wisdom, right? And having those
Yes.
conversations with people that are different with us, instead of screaming at each other and trying to win the conversation, it just means that, hey, it's time to sit down, talk to each other, and learn from each other. Because at that point, you can actually start to develop empathy, right? And empathy, and be empathetic and have understanding, instead of like, oh, this person's just because of this or whatever. And the divisiveness that is force fed into us, into our homes, by every single, like, it doesn't even matter if it's news and whatever damn news channel you.
I think you took your title. I think you took your title from you.
He got my title. He was in midstream too.
Yeah. But, just to kind of capitalize on what he talked about, we definitely need to have dialogue with one another. We definitely have to work towards building conversations towards understanding versus this. I got my flag and I'm running this way and you run your way. We need to be able to have dialogue with one another where we can come to an understanding, whether we agree or disagree. It doesn't hurt to say be right or be wrong. The thing is that we grow from the conversation. And I think that's what we need to allow ourselves to get to that point.
Absolutely, and that takes a definite maturity and rewiring, because some people are like, oh, it's that whole process. I got to be right and you're wrong. Making yourself right makes somebody else wrong, when there's not a definitive answer for people from two different backgrounds, perspectives. I mean, common sense tells you, what's right and what's wrong. I mean,
Absolutely.
I
you
dropped
know
the
it, you
mic.
feel it. Yeah, we
Yeah,
know.
I had a drop the mic
Yeah.
moment.
I was sharing with him that you took over his title. His title is Be Still.
Yeah, Be Quiet was my
Be
name,
mute.
right? Or shut the fuck up, you know.
But you gotta love technology, because without
Yeah.
technology, we wouldn't be able to do what we're doing tonight. So we
Yeah,
gotta love
man.
it one way or the other.
We're able to come together and have, you know, a conversation not only about just, you know, your contribution to this thing that we all love, which is hip hop, and has been a part of our lives throughout our entire lives, and continues to be a part of our lives, and allows us to educate, learn, and, you know, impart wisdom, and, you know, just soak it up, and it is the melting pot. It's truly through music that we all are able to connect, you know, sound, vibration. It's important, and it's something that's always been my guide stone, and that's the reason why I got to meet Fresh and all of that stuff. And I feel so fortunate and blessed to be able to have, you know, individuals that have been in my life, like Fresh and like my mentor, you know, that taught me how to DJ, and was the first person that really instilled any confidence in me to do what I have done and did and doing now, you know. One question, final question. What's the
Okay.
false narrative in hip hop that needs to die?
Oh, how much time do we have?
As much time
I
as you need,
think
my bro.
I think the false narrative in hip hop that needs to die is us glamorizing misogyny, glamorizing street culture, us glamorizing anything that leads people down a destructive path. I'm not against anybody getting their bag, but I think that we need to make more room for a counterculture of music. I would use what Big Grip said. I think he said, and I'm paraphrasing it. He was like, "I'm not gonna idolize anyone that promotes drug culture." He said, "If there's anyone I'm gonna idolize, I idolize those who are the truth sayers, the speakers to what's going on in the world and challenging what's in the world, like the KRS ones, the Chuck D's, and different ones like that." And again, I'm paraphrasing what he was saying, but in essence, what he was saying that he didn't he didn't he don't he grew up in the streets and he know what that's all about, but he wanted somebody to teach us something new that he didn't know, and that's why he said that he wanted to embrace those KRS ones, he wanted to embrace the Chuck D's and many others who were doing different music than what he experienced in his life growing up. And so I think that's the narrative that we need to change, is that if you lived it, then you can speak about it. But if you didn't live it, then why are you trying to monetize off of it? And I think that we just need to get back to authenticity. I think we need to get back to promoting the realness of hip hop and really getting back to the basics.
Absolutely, absolutely. I agree. And what's the one thing that we haven't said about Welcome to America before we start this video? Actually,
Well,
hold
one
on.
of the
Yeah, go ahead, please.
no, you go first.
No.
You go
I want
first.
you to finish what you thought was, right? What you're getting
Well,
ready
one
to
thing I
say.
want to ask everybody to do, you know,
Hey. When when gonna do the Chip and Dale?
on the Chip and Dale. Okay.
Them two, no, after you. Like
Yeah, I know,
I
right?
heard three of them. I'm like, come on now.
Yeah. Well, I would say that
No, but go ahead,
one of
brother.
the things. No, you could. You could. I'll say I definitely want to encourage everybody to go to SoulRac Music to definitely download the follow me on social media, but more importantly, support the music. Just don't stream it, but actually buy the single, and that way you can continue to support artists that's really going out there to make music like Welcome to America, because it's a record that not too many people will make. You know, it's a record that is because it speaks against the ills of society, and not only does it speak against the ills of society, it challenges people to strive towards making a better world. So one thing I would say that we haven't spoken about Welcome to America is that I'm hoping that this record will be a song that will shape this generation and that it will outlive me. That's what I'm hoping that this record.
Absolutely, absolutely. And everyone in the description,
And
of
it's dope.
course,
I
are
mean,
the links.
musically, I mean,
Thank you. Appreciate it.
There's the link to his
yeah, he's
link
not
tree.
asking you to listen to some whack bullshit.
No, no, he's got He's got some songs for you on your streaming platforms, but you need to go and support and buy physical, download, support, because
Absolutely.
there's a message in the music, and that's an old school OJ song that you might like, an album. Take a listen to that. It's one of my favorite albums by the OJs.
All right.
But we're getting ready to get into the music video again of Welcome to America. But before we get up out of it, because that's what we're going to leave on, I want you to have an opportunity. We always ask everyone to say a piece of advice to anybody that's out there that's either, in at any part of their journey. What was one of the hardest lessons that you've had to learn in life that lesson has helped better you and made you a better person and really opened your eyes and helped change you for the better or challenged you?
I think, two things really. One, growing up, without a father, number one, I think that shaped me because it shaped me to want to be something, be a father for my son. So I say becoming a father when I didn't have a father helped me become a good father because I wanted to be everything for my son that I didn't have. And so I'll say that life experience was what really motivated me to become a better person. And not only that, realize that I had someone else's life in my hand and do all I can to make sure that they have a better start than I ever had. And so I say that would be a life lesson.
Amen. That's all you can ask for as a parent, right? Is that. I mean, that is the key, you know what I mean? To be able to have an opportunity to basically make sure that your children learn from the lessons, the hard lessons that you had to learn, and you're doing them a disservice if you don't share that with them. And that's also a reason why it's so important for you to be able to, if you're still alive and breathing, to make sure that you are a part of your children's lives because you matter. And
Absolutely.
and even if there's you see a youngin without a father figure, especially as men, because the women hold it down a lot in this society and culture, and it's really put on their back. There's a lot of families that have single parent homes, and it's normally left to the mom to do it. And it's a difficult situation, and men need to step up and have the opportunity, and men are stepping up. And the men that step up, such as yourself, you need to have your recognition. And thank you so much for this interview. Thank you so much for this time. I hope to have you back on again and again and again, and especially if you have any of your collaborators and connections. It would be a blessing and honor to have them on and be able to promote them and their work and have a conversation about hip hop and all the things in between, right? So
absolutely. I'm definitely looking forward. I would love to come back whenever you need me.
You're
and
always
like we
welcome.
talk, and when we talk, like we talked about earlier, whatever you're doing, let me know so I can support you as well. And I mean,
Amen.
that to both of you.
Thank you, sir. So everybody out here, you're getting ready
Absolutely.
to have an opportunity to listen to and see the visual. And you have a video coming out that you're shooting for this. And when is that going to be released?
We're still working on the date, but we are going to have at least a teaser this week. And so if they follow me on my social media platforms, they will, SoulRac Music, they will be able to see the teaser, and then we'll definitely announce when the video will be coming out.
Yo, and I've put those all of those things that for you to be able to follow, they have been in the chat. And
yes, I saw that. Thank you.
They're directly linked in the description. So everyone, shout outs before we get up out of here. Shout outs, SoulRac. Let everybody know. Give everybody shout outs and let them know where to follow. Once again, plug it up.
All right. Well, first of all, I want to encourage everybody to continue to support what you're doing at the B-Boy Underground podcast, because you guys are doing great work for the culture. And so I want to encourage everybody to do that. I want to give love to my team, Kev, Alex, Tom, my man Bones, of course, the label, Spit Slam. And like I said earlier, follow me on social media at SoulRac Music. And that way you can get updates about potential tours that may be going on, music, as well as this new music video that's getting ready to drop in the near future. So follow me so you can stay tuned, and more importantly, continue to support my brothers here, because they're doing something great for the culture.
Appreciate that, fam. G-Dash, shout outs, fam.
Oh, of course, we're gonna shout out everybody tuning in, man. I mean, without y'all, it's just a show of us talking to ourselves. But we got listeners, and we appreciate the support. B-boys, B-girls, tuning in, internationally to national to statewide, whatever, however y'all getting in. Check us out on every platform. Shout out to the wifey. Shout out to just the B-Boys Underground crew, Boogie, Chief Fresh, the ones that ain't with us, Mad Ways, Weez. Love y'all. And definitely SoulRac for coming in, joining us, and giving us his perspective of hip-hop, his stories. Shout out to Sharif for hooking it up. Rap-a-tat Blizz, we appreciate y'all for what you're doing.
Man.
So, hey, we're going to check
Sharif.
this video out. Sharif wants y'all to keep pushing forward, being positive, and we're going to end on that note. And Boogie got a few words to say. And I'm going to say my normal Rollo, which comes from, I was telling you earlier, Sanford the Son. Rollo is our peace out word, because every time he came in the house, Fred would kick him out. So when we say Rollo, it's time to leave. And I did a interview with the Alcoholics, and they use Rollo as stealing something. So we had a good laugh.
Oh, snap.
Yeah, I remember the Alcoholics.
Rollo means you peace out because you're getting kicked out.
And I got to apologize to Sharif. I meant to mention his name as well. That's my guy right there, man. He's part of the team too. So
I love the Sharif.
So blame it on the mind, not the heart, Sharif. Much love to you, my brother. Much love to you.
So check it out, man. We are B-Boys Underground. We're going to have 2 episodes for you next week. Next week, we got a special episode on Monday. It's going to be Smokey Joe. He has a single out. He is an artist out of Atlanta, Georgia. He is working with Cujo Goody. He is on Cujo's latest release called Cookin'. If you haven't heard that track, please make sure you run it up, and then make sure you tune in here at 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. Mountain, 6 p.m. Pacific live to check that interview out. And then Wednesday, we're going to have the one and only DJ Pillow, who I got one of his old school mix CDs from back in the day. This is reggae classics, all of that stuff. Can't wait to speak to that cat again. And old school DJ from Cincinnati. And keep it positive, keep pushing, keep persevering. Stay in the present, not in the past. Just learn from it and don't trip on the future, because I died twice and it don't mean shit when you wake up and they're like, hello. All I worried about was where's my wife, where's my children, and that is all that matters. So stay right here in the present. Don't trip on it. Like, just enjoy what you've got. Be thankful for what you got. That's William Devon. Go look at that album too. I like old school music. And with that being said, we are up out of here, y'all. Peace. Check out Welcome to America, y'all.
SoulRac, Frank G. Welcome to America. Let's take it to the days when beats and rhymes meant something. Before cats hit the booth with this incoherent mumbling. You know, a cohesive thought, maybe a street report to let the people know what's going on in the hood. You know why that's hard pressed, the time frames differ. The toughest dudes got they block snatched up by hipsters. That gun talk don't work when they price you out. Triple your rent, leave your existence and life in doubt. Look, welcome to the new York where police choke you. Smile at it on camera, then buy themselves a boat. Ooh, sounds crazy, that's just how it goes now. Melanated people people feel economy slow down. Millions gotta choose between the rent and the food. No wonder why a goon got a Mac 10 to you. It's either that or slave for a 60-hour work week and still not have enough for their family to eat.
America, we're fighting for freedom. Welcome to America, where they don't see us. Welcome to America. Our hearts are laden. Welcome to America. Welcome.
Welcome to America.
Black skin with black scars, we driven like fast cars. Decision we ask God, no living for black heart. On a mission to pass Mars, division from past scars. So many behind bars, so minute I blast scars. We got cops with a badge and a gun, who will shoot you in the back if you happen to run. Politicians care less as they bask in the sun, who will rob for the poor without a mask or a gun. Yeah, that's how it is in these American streets, where racists hold office while wearing a sheet. The war on drugs is just a war on the youth. They rather hear or lie to hear more of the truth. They want us to fear the one south of the border, but both for pedophiles who put their mouth on your daughter. Corporations advertise that Black Lives Matter, but take away from neighborhoods where Black lives gather.
Welcome to America, we're fighting for freedom. Yeah. Welcome to America, where they don't see us.
Welcome to America.
Our hearts are bleeding. Welcome to America. Welcome.
Welcome to America.
Oh, it's the same old story.
Wake the hell up.
Welcome to America.
Oh, it's the same old story.
Wake the hell up.
Welcome to America.
America, we're fighting for freedom. Welcome to America, where they don't see us.
Welcome to America.
Our hearts are bleeding. Welcome to America. Welcome.
Welcome to America.
No.
Welcome to America.
The land of the free.
Welcome to America.
Make sure you follow the one and only SoulRac. I appreciate everybody that tuned back in. We had some technical difficulties to start the episode off. There's going to be 2 episodes up on the live. I will upload and re-upload and merge everything together as far as what we can salvage. There was some technical difficulties with the platform, but I appreciate everybody that did tune in and stick around and all of that stuff. I hope you enjoyed this episode. It was a great opportunity to have a chance to speak with SoulRac. And again, once again, he's on Chuck D's own record label. That single is stamped by the one and only Chuck D. And if you don't know, Chuck D means a lot to me. So salute Chuck D. Shout out to the entire founding fathers of the hip hop crew. And much definitely shout out to each and every single one of y'all. Peace. Y'all split that. Peace.
Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, share, follow. From my city to your world. We are City World.